Good evening, dear children. I hope you all are safe and fine at home, and I believe that you all are learning very good, and you also enhancing your potential day by day by seeing the lectures. Okay? So, dear students, today we are going to deal with a new topic, and the topic name is development. And this is our fourth part of the chapter PE as Physical Education for CWSN, Child with Special Needs. So today the topic that we are going to cover is inclusive education and deep Olympics. Before this, we had studied about so many things. That is the adaptive physical education. What is adaptive physical education? Let's recap it. So that you can understand the concept properly. Adaptive physical education. It is a very, the curriculum is the mold form of education, especially for the child with a special need. Now, when I am talking about the child with a special need, it means I am talking about the children, those who have difficulty in learning, those who have some kind of disability, and those who have some kind of disorders. For them, education is a little bit a challenging part. If we talk in terms of sports, if we talk in terms of game, if we talk in terms of physical education, it's become so challenging if they have a disorder or a disability. As we all know, the disability is the inability of a person to do work. Today, we are going to understand that what is this disability is and what is deep Olympics and what is the role of exclusive or inclusive education. Deep Olympic, this is the Olympic for the deaf peoples. So it's a kind of sensory problem when one of the sensors, that is the ear, which gives a sensation of hearing, is not working. So here we understand that deep Olympic is a part of transformation, creation of transformation in the life of disabled persons. As you all know, that disability is a kind of impairment which leads someone into trouble of sometimes vision related, sometimes hearing related, and so on. Disability may be cognitive, disability may be behavioral, disability may be related to developmental, it may be resulting of memory, remembering also. So it may happen due to war, it may happen due to accident, it may be till birth, it may be before birth, it may be came from environment. Alright, so we understand that disabled person has to be treated in the same way as other people are treated. They should also have equal access of health and care. They should also have equal access of schools. They have also dreams in their mind. They have also a desire. They also want to accomplish the goal of their life. They also want to enhance their potential. They also want to show their potential to the world that they can do a lot of fun. That's why Paralympics, Special Olympic Bharat, these are some kind of deep Olympic as well. These are some organizations which done a great job in terms of that what people are doing for them. Deep Olympics is indeed a wonderful opportunity for a player, for a deep player to enhance his or her potential. Deep Olympic is really important and renowned, which is sanctioned by the IOC, International Olympic Committee. International Olympic Committee is a very renowned governing body which sanctions the Olympics, that is the Paralympics, that is the Deep Olympics, Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics. There is so many kinds of events. The headquarters of IOC is in Lausanne, which is in Switzerland, right? So when we talk about this children with special needs, they may have three kinds of problems. Okay, they may have a physical problem, they may have a sensory problem which is related to the sense of it, they may have a cognitive problem. So disability may be based on anything. Today the kind of thing this deep Olympic we are going to learn is based on the sensory problem. As you all know, that eye gives the sensation of vision, ear gives the sensation of hearing, tongue gives the sensation of taste, the skin gives the sensation of feel. In the same way, ears give us the sensation of hearing. But the person who are in deaf Olympics means they are not having their hearing capacity. They are unable, they are not able to hear because their sense organs are not working properly. Okay, so that's why this, the system that is the deaf Olympics is made. So here in deaf Olympics, the very important thing that we need to keep in mind, the deaf Olympics are the international sports event for the deaf athletes. And I hope it's clear with everyone. It's definitely the deaf Olympics is for the deaf peoples, the peoples who having the problem in the hearing. So if someone who has hearing problem, they are treated as the deaf peoples. Alright, so deaf peoples are the this is deaf Olympics is an international program. It is sanctioned by IOC. Okay, students, and these deaf Olympics are international sports, and for all the deaf athletes who are allied for the competitive fight. It held every after 4 years. So you keep in your mind, dear students, the deaf Olympics are taken place every after 4 years. So every after 4 years we had a deaf Olympic with both summer and winter games were held alternately after the gap of 2 years. Sometime the summer Olympics, sometime with the winter Olympics, right? Every after 2 years. First held in Paris. So this deaf Olympic was firstly held in Paris, and the date, the year is around 1924 on that time. Students, this deaf Olympic was firstly held in Paris, please mark my words. This deaf Olympic was firstly held in Paris, and on that time, the year was 1924. It is the second oldest multinational sports tournament. It is a matter to think that the kind of development of a people in this century, that is in this 21st century, all the peoples have they have the equal access of health and care. And deaf Olympic has created a kind of ground, a kind of opportunity for these peoples, so that they can also live a healthier and happier life. They can also make their dreams come true, and they can also learn a lot of things. They can also interact with the society. They can also make new friends. Over the years, it has gone by the several other names. Like in 1924 to 1965, this Deaf Olympic was called the International Games for the Deaf. But later on it was changed and the name given is Deaf Olympics. From 1924 to 1965, this Deaf Olympic was called as the International Games for Deaf. The World Game of Deaf from 1966 to 1999. So from here we got that these names were changed constantly. As I told you that from 1924 to 1965 it was called the International Games for Deaf. But initially from 1966 to 1999 we called it the World Games for Deaf. But later on it will change and the name given is Deaf Olympics. And it was done in 2001. Since its inscription, it has been organized the Committee International Dice Sport. The International Committee of the Sports for the Deaf, CISS, was recently named League Committee International Dice Sports Dice South. The International Committee of the Sports for the Deaf, ICDSD, and it is introduced by IOC, that is International Olympic Committee, and it was in around 1955. Though this games started in just 148 athletes. So when this Deaf Olympic was started, on that time only this number of peoples, that is the peoples are only 148. It means the participate is only 148 athletes were there, and they are from 9 countries. How many countries? They were from 9 of the countries. In this 336 participants from 27 nations participated in 2015. So if we talk about 2015 Deaf Olympics, there were 336 participants and they belongs to 27 of the different nations. In Winter Olympics, that is the Winter Deaf Olympics, while 3,148 athletes were participated, and on that time around 97 countries were participating, and this was the time of 2017 Summer Olympics. Got it, students? So let's come and understand what are the characteristics of Deaf Olympics. Deaf Olympics means what? What is the exactly means of Deaf Olympics? Deaf Olympics, the participating athletes must have hearing loss at least for 55 decibel in their better ear. So if there is someone who has a problem with the hearing capacity and he or she has less 55 decibels in the terms of hearing ability I am asking about. Hearing aids and cochlear implants are not allowed during this competition. The athletes cannot be guided by the sound such as bull horns, whistle, bells, etc. Visual tactics such as waving flag, flashlight are used for commencing and refereeing the games. So in this Deaf Olympics, people are not at all instructed with the help of sound aids, but they are instructed with the help of this by waving flags, some flashlights, etc. Umpiring also. Like other sports event, it is also enforced that this kind of Olympics, that is the Deaf Olympic, should be away from the drugs. That's why the World Doping Agency (WADA) has created a drug-free sports environment for all the deaf athletes in collaboration with WADA. So WADA, it's a national testing agency. Okay. It aims. What is the aim, of this Deaf Olympic? The aim of this Deaf Olympics to provide deaf athletes a platform which is free of this discrimination, which is free of foundations, open for all. It means those who belongs to this category, where they can compete under condition and fairness, equality, and they can learn, lead, and they can create their own future, the upcoming brighter future. Events including in the Summer Olympics are athletics, sometimes badminton, beach volleyball, basketball, volleying, sometimes road cycling, golf, football, handball, judo, karate, mountain biking, tennis, freestyle wrestling, and so many things. Winter events include alpine skiing, cross-country skiing, curling, ice hockey, and snowboarding. Alright, so now see when you learn these concepts, this Deaf Olympics has a great impact, and this Deaf Olympics play a very important role in terms of shaping the card of students. Shaping the card of player, it means the coaches, they must get the training for the particular renowned sections from their side, so that they can teach the players, they can teach what exactly they should do. So here we understand that Deaf Olympic has a great impact on the life of people. It has definitely the names were changing in the period of time, but finally we got the name the Deaf Olympics, right? So Deaf Olympic, it is previously called the World Games of Deaf or International sanctioned by this International Olympic Committee. Who sanctioned it? It is being sanctioned with the International Olympic Committee. When we talk about the International Olympic Committee, so IOC, the International Olympic Committee, has various norms and years now in their arena. They have various kinds of having rules and regulations. Like they see the drugs and all. They want the participation in the sports. They want that this participation must free and fair from the drugs and everything, right? So it is very important that we must understand the efforts, and we need to understand that what is the situation of the players who were there in the Olympics. Because see, when person having a disability, then it becomes a problem for them, because it restricts their participation. What does it do? It restricts the participation of the players. So when we talk about this International Olympic Committee, so International Olympic Committee, IOC, this committee helps to encourage, they used to support and promotion of ethics in sports, as well as education for youth and sports, and they have decided or dedicated the efforts to ensure that the sports for all and the spirit for the fair play, which is the most important part, right? To encourage, the second thing, if we think about this IOC, International Olympic Committee, so they encourage, they support the organization for the development, for the coordination of the sports and for the sports competitions. They ensure that the regular celebration of these deep Olympics could be taken place. The cooperation, they cooperate with the competent, they cooperate with the public, private organizations, different authorities, endeavor to place the sports and service the humanity for the promotion of peace, for the promotion of health. They used to take action in order to strengthen the unity and protect the independence and the fair play. They act against any form of discrimination which affecting the deep Olympics. Got it? So here, to encourage and support the promotion of women in sports, as well as see this this kind of problem is not only with the men. This problem is sometimes faced by the females also, sometimes with the men. So disability may occur to anyone. It is not fixed to the gender. So they act against any kind of discrimination, and they used to support, encourage women's participation at all levels. They have a structured principle for the equality in the sports for the men as well as for the women. Got it? To lead a fight against doping, they are also very sincere, and they are ever ready that in deep Olympics. See, people having disability, so they put their 1000% of efforts, and they keep this thing in mind that they'll have to do something which lead them to live a healthier and happier life, right? So they have that kind of desire, and they really want to do something which is very, very important in their life. And definitely, if they've done a great job in terms of this, and if there is any kind of discrimination or a kind of any problem in their life, then it's become so difficult for them to digest that particular thing. Because see, when people having disability, they put their 1000% efforts, I would not say 100% efforts. So if anything is mismanaged or anything is unfair, will be very hard touching. They oppose the political and commercial abuse of sports and for the athletes. To encourage and support the efforts of the sports organization, the public authorities, to provide their social and professional future to the athletes. So they are working for the all-around development of the individual. To encourage and support the development of sports for all, it's also a kind of, they are having this kind of words, they having this kind of feelings with them, that they can also help their peoples so that their life can be strong, their future can be nurtured properly. Got it? So when we talk about this Deaf Olympics, so Deaf Olympic is previously called the World Games of Deaf, or the International Games for the Deaf. It was definitely sanctioned by the International Olympic Committee, right? And this Deaf Olympic, these games are played in the light level. Unlike the athletes from IOC events, this Olympic cannot be guided with the sound. The starter gun, the horn will come on, the referee whistles, nothing else but there. The game have been organized by the Committee International de Sports, DSTOP, the International Committee for Sports of the Deaf. So, I hope you all have understood what is the importance of this Deaf Olympic and why people need this kind of organization. So the organization like Paralympics, the organization like Deaf Olympics, the organization like Special Olympic Bharat, they are ready to give this kind of inclusive education to the pupils. Okay? Because see, when people having disability, their participation in games and sports, the participation in completing their daily needs are restricted. are definitely affected too. So it's very important to have such a kind of thought process. It's very important to have such a kind of knowledge and to allow our students, and being a physical education teacher or being a physical education student, you guys, you always know all these things, because if you see anyone with this kind of problems, you can suggest his or her that their future is not blamed. That after all this all darkness, there is a light. They can also do a great job. Right? Now let's come with me to learn the new topic, and the new topic is inclusion. What is the meaning of inclusion? Inclusion means something joyful, learning environment, it means something which is above caste, gender, color, race, etc. When we talk about this inclusive education, it is a kind of education which helps to nurture the talent of CWSN, Divyang students. This is the kind of environment, this is a learning process, it is a positive kind of environment which helps to learn people with disability. They provide such a positive environment to the people that not only help them to live, but definitely they help them to understand the life consequences, and they definitely create such a positive environment. Like inclusive education is defined as the learning environment that promote full personal academics, personal development to all the learners, irrespective of their color, their race, their class, their disability, their sexual preference, their learning style and language. Right? So I'm repeating, please mark my words. Inclusive education is that kind of education which wants to promote the full personal academics, personal development, irrespective of the color, class, sexual preference, learning style. Right? So when I'm thinking about this inclusive education, it means something which is joyful, something which provides the learning environment, and here the children is treated with their own life pace, their own learning style. See all students having their own learning styles. So it is a kind of positive environment. Which kind of environment? It is a positive environment. It is all about the race, the color, the gender, and all. Inclusive education is a process when different kinds of athletes come here, right? So you must have seen the people having disability, sometimes cognitive disability. Which disability? Cognitive. This cognitive disability means it's related to the thought process or lack of mental development. Right? Lack of mental development will affect the thought process. Thought process. It affects the remembering power. It affects the memory resulting. Of an individual. Got it? So when people are having this cognitive kind of problem, they have to face a lot of things. So for them, a teacher is trained, and the teacher will have to understand that kid and need to work accordingly. Right? So teacher will have to mold her or himself for them. The teacher will have, the coach or the teacher will have to go in their way to teach them. Because I told you earlier, शिक्षक चाहे तो गूंगा बोले, शिक्षक चाहे तो अंधा देखे, और शिक्षक चाहे तो बहरा सुने. If the coach, if the teacher, if any person who is giving something to someone, if your way is something which helps them to learn, to acquire, to adapt in your learning style, then definitely they will understand you and they will follow you. So here in the same way, this inclusive education means to create such a positive environment, to create such an amazing environment which helps the people with disability, the people with CWSN, so that they can understand the whole concepts whatever you are teaching. So teacher or the coach will have to go on their own pace so that they can understand the children and they can live the life for them. They are like being for them. They are like light for them. Like, if they do something for them, then there will be a kind of light comes in their life. So, inclusion can be defined as it is an act of a state being part of something larger. थोड़ा अपना हृदय बड़ा कर तो देखो, चलो आओ बच्चों को समझकर तो देखो, कहीं पास खड़े हैं दोस्त तुम्हारे, कुछ अच्छे हैं कुछ है शाने, कुछ सीधे हैं कुछ है बहरे, कुछ लंगड़े हैं कुछ है लोले, समझ जाओ तुम इस दुनिया को, वो भी तो इंसान है, तुम्हें ईश्वर ने ज्ञान दिया तो उसको संचार करो. मेरा कहने का यह मतलब है, in this world people's having different kinds of thought process. All peoples are not, even not a single person is sarva gun sampanna. So what we need to understand, that we all are human beings and we need to act accordingly. If we have such kind of thoughts in our mind that we are superior from someone and someone is not superior than us, then it's totally a kind of thought process in their mind. We must understand that it is not at all a fault of theirs if they are having any kind of disability. This inclusion can be defined as a state of something larger. So when जब मैं बोल रहा हूँ, if I am telling that be a part of change, be a part of something larger, it means someone will have to serve something large. From this holy heart, let us spread the positivity, let us spread the awareness among peoples. So, in social context, if I told about inclusion, it means every person has possibility to participate fully and equally in all social process, right from the beginning, regardless of individual skill, ethics, or social religion, sex, gender, or age. According to not which, a great person says something, and I hope this word definitely touch your heart. Inclusive is something which cannot be done to people. It can be something which people are actively involved. So inclusive education is such a kind of education which helps an individual to involve. Their involvement should be there, they participated there, learning environment should be there, positive environment should be there, joyful learning is there, the involvement is there, they are treated according to their learning style. Okay, so because see, sometimes these people having a kind of problems while thinking or doing that so by valuing and respecting the human diversity, because we are having number of peoples in our society, all of them having the various kinds of issues with their life, right? So we need to understand, we need to accept the diversity of the people. Inclusive education is an approach of educating a student with special educational needs. We people are living in a diversity. All people having different capabilities, capacities and potential. It is not like that the people cannot do anything. Some are very good, some are better, some are poor. It's okay. What about life? So it's this inclusive education is the kind of education, it's a kind of special education needs. Under the inclusive education model, students with a special need spend most all the time in non-special need students. Inclusive reject the use of special schools first classroom. Separate student with disability can student without disability. Even a disabled student can compete the able student because the level of determination, the level of hard work he or she has is even have someone, right? So, implementation of this practice it varies in the school. Some schools have frequently inclusive models selected for the students for mild to moderate special children. Fully inclusive education, which are rare, do not separate general education, special education also program, right? So, inclusive education differ from integration of mainstream model of education, which tends to be concerned principally and disability, special educational needs, learn and changing, upcoming ready. So we have a model to intend, we have a model to lead people. Now we need to understand what is the need of this inclusive education. Why this inclusive education is needed? See, the first thing we need to understand here is the people who have a disability, they definitely need a kind of support. They want modification in the curriculum, they want modification in the system. That is what APE, Adaptive Physical Education, have done already, right? So, what is the need of inclusive education? This inclusive education which brings a positive changes, which brings, a kind of change in the life of a person. They want to mold the values of the next generation. It wants to state that they have a desire in their mind that they want to change the mindset of the people. They want to say that the generation should understand that this is the diversity. All people are not same. Even one and the next, they have different capacity, different potential. They can do anything they want. So here we need to understand that the people having disability will have to understand that this mode of value for the next generation. So if we inculcate this moral, social and inclusive kind of values in the pupils, so the mode of value for the next generation can be made. We can, if we treat or if someone has achieved a great job in terms of their sports, in terms of any parameter of their life, then they can understand and the example can be set out. Provide opportunity for the friendship. When people club together and interact together, they also create some friends. Because these people sometimes may have less number of friends. So they will be socially effective. And this kind of organization will provide a beautiful, such a wonderful opportunities to the player so that they can participate, they can nurture their talent, they can make a showcase of their talent, and they can also achieve something which is very important for them. Because all people having desire in their life, all people wants to achieve something in their life, and definitely they want to inculcate social, moral and lot of values in their life. Student seems a person first and disability second. What inclusion want? Inclusive education wants that person will see the person, the skills of a person first. Later on he'll see the disability. The development of friendship requires close proximity, common experience, keep children together, encouraging them, and both objective of this disability attend the same school. Prepared individual for adult life. When we give this inclusive kind of education, in this time the peoples are giving a kind of individual that we are preparing peoples for the upcoming future. We are preparing people for the upcoming betterment, right? So today classmates are tomorrow employees. Okay, today's classmates are tomorrow's employees. Community life is not divided into typical community speech, and sometimes this additional resources, therapists, special educationists, and the enriched learning system or environment helpful for such kind of children to nurture their talent, to boost out, to gear up themselves. So these 3-4 things that is their socialization. Third is prepare individual for the adult life, so that we make the children of the healthy India, we make the broad-minded citizen of the country. Cultivate, enrich learning system or learning environment. It helps to provide a learning kind of environment to the people, so that the student can understand the concept of things properly, and they can lead a happier and healthier life. So it's very important to understand that all people, irrespective of their color, gender, caste, they have some kind of feelings, hope and desire, goals. They also want to do a lot of things. I hope you have cleared this deep analysis for the deep peoples. Okay, it is mentioned by IOC. Second thing you have here is the concept of inclusion, joyful learning, learning which is above the grounds of color, caste, gender, religion, etc. Thought process, which is generally for the intellectual people's cognitive problem. The need of inclusion is to mold the society, provide opportunities, individual to challenge and lead them to a healthier adult life and make citizens of the country. Cultivate them with enriched learning system, let them involve, let them enjoy, so that they can make a brighter future. With this, thank you so much. We'll meet in the next lecture. So till that, bye bye, take care, and start learning.